Hello and welcome everyone to another Starcraft 2 England cast. And today we have got, well, I'm going to do 3 games today, and we're going to start off with TLO versus Polt. And the map is going to be Cloud Kingdom. It is the ESV version, so there are supply depots blocking off the bottom of the ramp to prevent any walling off. And down in the south position we have got Polt playing as the red Terran player. And in the top right position we have TLO as the blue Zerg player. Now, two really top-notch players. TLO is one of my favourite players at the moment. I just love his style. I love the fact he gets loads of games up. He's just really good. The map should be quite familiar. Obviously it is now in the ladder pool for this season of StarCraft, and basically it's a good fun map. I mean, you've got the quite easy to defend natural because you do have this relatively narrow choke point. You also have these rocks here, which just means that you can force field off this area very easily if you are playing Protoss. Likewise, it's just a nice little narrow choke point, just to mean that in very early game any sort of super early rush can be defended relatively easily because you can get such a good arc up here. The third, relatively easy to take, no rocks here as well, so Zerg players do very much like that. And the third actually has its own access from here as well. So, I mean, a lot of very creative play can go on from just running units round, bringing them just through round here and up to the third base. So, lots of different ways to run through. Also in the middle, there's obviously some rocks here and a low flying shark. Some more rocks here, and again you can just run through. There's so many different paths that it's really good. And we're going to see a 15 hatch go down for TLO. Meanwhile, we have just got this 1 Rax with a refinery. I'll almost guarantee that Plot will go Reactor Hellion because, I mean, let's face it, Reactor Hellion is the done thing in TVZ at the moment, and it's quite a good move. I mean, you don't invest that much. You've got to get that factory anyway for tanks later on. And if you do get Reactor Hellions, there's always the chance that you'll be able to get in. And if you just get 4 in, you can do a lot of damage to a mineral line of the Zerg player if they are greedy. So the spawning pool going down now, I think it was on 16 for TLO, isn't getting any gas, so may actually be going for a pretty fast third base or something similar. Either way, the pool is pretty much half done now, still no gas, so he's going to be going for saturating the minerals really quickly. Meanwhile, if we just take a look here, yep, there goes down the factory, so I'm almost willing to bet my life savings on Reactor Hellions coming down for Plot. Meanwhile, this SCV has creeped in. Nothing TLO can do about it unless he gets us around, but he probably won't. Just going to chase that one SCV around with just 1 drone. Meanwhile, the hatch is now down for TLO. He's also getting that queen, both queens actually out very quickly, and a bunker going down now for Plot. A spine crawler is being built. Now, 1 marine is out, 3 drones being pulled, 1 going straight away back. Just needs to try and take out that SCV as fast as possible. But obviously, 2 lings already out now, 2 more on the way. So that SCV isn't going to last long, and a cancel will have to go off on that bunker. No second SCV is being pulled. However, amazingly, Plot is managing to keep that SCV up at the moment. The Marines trying to focus fire down on the spine crawler because obviously the spine crawler would be able to do quite a lot of damage. But the queen is now down, but the bunker is going to get finished. And, I mean, just the sheer fact that bunker is finished means that it could be quite awkward for TLO to deal with this. I mean, the bunker itself can't do any damage. He's just pulling that spine crawler back. So if the Marines do come out to try and move forward, they will be in range of the spine crawler. So not much really going to go on there at the moment. And TLO actually now trying to move it forward again. And just back and forward constantly, and that Overlord is going to get taken down. Now, the fact he unburrowed that spine crawler means the Marines could get out, and they're going to do quite a bit of damage to the Queen and also the spine. But the spine is now just in range of the barracks, and if we take a look down here, obviously TLO's got great Overlord position, knows those Reactor Hellions are coming. The expansion also half done now for Plot as well. Still on 1 gas, so fairly standard builds going on from Plot. He's trying to put on a lot of early pressure, and it's working pretty well actually. I mean, that Queen's all but dead, and a good salvage going off that bunker, perfectly timed by Plot there. So that's really frustrating as a Zerg player seeing that go, and the Queen is going to go down almost certainly now, and losing that Queen this early on can be actually quite a big loss because obviously it's a loss of injects and also creep spread. But 1 Queen being brought down now just to deal in case there are any more Hellions, which there are. There's 2 more Hellions on the way down, and I mean this brings it to 3. Now 4 is the magic number really, just in order to do considerable damage to the drones. You can afford to lose 1 and still get off some good hits. And all lining them up there, a lot TLO there, and again quite a few drones are going down. Luckily, some managing to stay up for TLO there, and the Hellion will go down. And we go to the lost tab. Only 5 drones killed by Plot there, so not massive losses. This orbital command is just going to go move into his natural now. Some SCVs are getting transferred, ramping up the barracks production. Stim on its way as well for Plot. Meanwhile, we've got Roach Warren on its way for TLO, so he's obviously feeling the pressure, worried about kind of too much more going on here from Hellions. I mean, there are 2 more on the way, but this Queen just pushing forward. That Spine on very low health has got a second Spine around the back. Obviously 2 Spines are needed to really give good coverage of both the ramp and the mineral line. TLO taking his 3rd gas. Meanwhile, Plot still on just the 1, getting a starport and also just moving that factory off the reactor. So the factory will probably go for a tech lab, and that barracks will go to the reactor in order to get double marines out at the time. Now, there are these 4 Hellions sitting at the front of TLO's base, preventing creep spread. 6 Hellions now, and I mean, TLO is getting some roaches, so once those roaches do pop, those Hellions are going to be absolutely no use at all. But they do manage to take out the Spine Crawler, and now can just continue to harass the Queens. 1 did die, so that does him a bit of breathing space. Now the roaches are, I mean, those Hellions are going to have to go back. There's absolutely nothing you can do with Hellions versus roaches. The roaches will win hands down very, very quickly. TLO just really powering it. If we take a look at Plot's base, he's just getting 2 more reactors down, moving that starport over, getting a reactor on the factory there just to get the starport out, producing double medevacs as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, a whole load of roaches and lings coming in for TLO now, so this is going to be a big push, and I don't actually think the Plot is going to be able to defend this. I mean, that bunker won't finish in time. The SCV does get sniped, cancelling the bunker. All of those SCVs and mules are going to have to get pulled back, but not before... Oh, actually, none do manage to get taken down. It will force the lift on this orbital command, though, so it does just delay mining for Plot there and also SCV production. Now, there is enough stuff up on this high ground here for Plot to defend. He is supply blocked from losing that supply depot, though, so that is quite inconvenient. Just more roaches coming in now. That Marauder just within range. Stim is done now for Plot. Meanwhile, the Baneling nest just on its way now for TLO as well, so we may actually see a Baneling bust here, and that could be very effective. There is absolutely no tanks here at all. There's just a lot of Marines, and I mean, Marines and Marauders will lose quite badly to this much pressure, especially if they do get inside the base. Siege mode just coming down now, so hopefully the first siege tank for Plot will come out. He's already 40 feet behind though, so 2 Spine Crawlers out for TLO at his natural base. Meanwhile, no evolution chamber, just building a lot of Banelings, morphing in 17 Banelings all at once, so TLO is really committing to this attack. He hasn't built any drones for quite a long period of time, not that he actually needs to. If we take a look at the unit counting tab, he's at 47 drones. So, quite nicely done. I'm trying to move out now. And this is the worst possible time for Plot to move out. Quickly running back is going to have to stop that orbital moving in. And the supply depots aren't down, so huge damage. That barracks is going to go down as well very, very quickly, which will massively reduce the amount of Marines that can be produced. There's a bunker there, and great micro on the Marines there, but there's just so many roaches, and the Marauders have been focused down by TLO. And I mean, Plot is in an awful position here, having to put all the SCVs just to use them as a meat shield for the Marines. Now, there are some medevacs out, which obviously can out-heal a couple of roaches as long as they don't focus fire, but Plot losing so many SCVs, he should be able to hold it, but I mean, he's just getting so many SCVs slaughtered here that he's not in a good position at all. The Marines will manage to clean this up, but if we go to the Lost tab, we will see that 16 SCVs have been killed by TLO. Meanwhile, that Overlord will die, so that's a small plus for Plot in this position, but just streaming in Zerglings now, streaming in more roaches while taking his third base. TLO is in an amazing position here, can just really push in. He's just got all of these Zerglings here. I wouldn't be surprised if he just remorphs a whole ton of Banelings. He has got his lair on the way now as well, getting +1 range attack actually, and 1 carapace now for his ground army. Hasn't got Baneling speed yet because lair isn't finished, and those Zerglings just poking in. There's hardly any units for Plot here. TLO could easily just get us around on these units and do an awful lot of damage, would force the lift into the medevacs, and actually going to go for the stim and pick off some of those lings, but the lings just wisely running straight past, don't want to engage here yet, and TLO is being forced to pull back a lot of his units. Now, again, just some roaches being lost here, and that's never what you want to happen. If we take a quick look, concussive shell isn't actually down yet for the Marauder, so TLO should be able to retreat. Meanwhile, he's just getting a lot of roaches out, now getting the Baneling speed and also the roach speed. Quite a lot of Zerglings on the way. There are 2 Spine Crawlers there as well, obviously. And I mean, Plot is really coming back into this. He's leveled that supply count really, really quite effectively. And I mean, fighting this on this little choke point here is absolutely brilliant for him, because it means that The Lings can't get the surround, and now just executing a perfect lift there in order to save as many units as he can. And he's going to scout this third base. Has gone down for TLO, so he knows exactly what's up. And if we go to the unit counting station, you will see that TLO is quite ahead now in drones compared to the SCVs. So he is economically at an advantage. Meanwhile, TLO is just pumping more roaches, more lings. Is going to have 1-1 done very, very soon, as well as baning speed and roach speed. So this is going to be a very mobile army and could put on a lot of pressure. Meanwhile, though, Plot is just resupplying incredibly. If we take a look in his base, he's just got so many barracks out. Plot has also got +1 weapons on the way now for his infantry. Another Overlord sniped down by Plot. And again, every Overlord you take out just wastes a lava and also 100 minerals. So if you pick enough of them off, it can be very irritating for the Zerg player. Meanwhile, this third base is going to come under a lot of pressure. No spine callers here. I mean, it looks like TLO is just going to sack this base, running in some roaches. I think he should be able to keep that base alive pretty easily. I mean, a lot of roaches are going down, though, and actually it might go down still yet. There's just so many medevacs there healing up very, very effectively. And obviously, roaches do a lot of damage per hit, but have relatively low DPS. So if there's a large number of medevacs, it can actually make taking down this infantry ball quite difficult when there are significant numbers of medevacs. Some drones being pulled as well. And I mean, that hatch is almost certainly going to go down now. Is going to get the surround, and it'll be interesting to see if Plot does just focus fire that hatch. He does manage to get it down and gets the lift off as well. And still TLO has nothing to deal with those medevacs. Meanwhile, we've got a good defensive position here being built by Plot. Great position of this siege tank here up on this high ground to protect this wall off, and one behind there as well. So even if a baning bust does go off, there's a significant number of tanks to defend. These roaches are just moving in there, but there's a lot of marines and marauders, and there's no medevac support here yet. So the roaches will actually do quite well against this, getting a good surround, just making sure every single roach is going to be engaged in this battle, and it will force Plot back. But 2 medevacs are out now, and obviously there's so many tanks there, the TLO can't move forward, and he is actually going to get trapped on the way back by these roaches. Could get cornered in, and that would not be good. Does manage to push his way through, so TLO should be able to keep most of those roaches alive. Meanwhile, though, Plot is in a very good position, now ahead in food, very, very considerably. So TLO has gone from putting on a lot of early aggression and apparently just didn't manage to do enough damage to make it worthwhile. And Plot just doing absolutely amazing pickups with those medevacs. His siege tank count is getting quite high now. He's getting +1 Terran infantry, which is about to finish as well. And the third hatch being rebuilt now for TLO as well. So he is stuck on 2 bases, and you never want to be equal bases as a Zerg player against a Terran. And Overlord speed just starting now. TLO hasn't even started 2-2 yet, so they are now on equal upgrades, and this is a big scary push coming out for Plot now. I mean, a lot of medevacs there, 3 tanks as well. If they do siege up and get a good position, as they have done, I mean, this centre ground is completely defended. All 3 of these Overlords are going to go down, and that's just going to be an annoying loss for TLO. It won't supply block him, but it is just irritating. It's 300 minerals down, and there are quite a lot of banelings rolling in now, and I mean, those marauders are going to try and pick them off. A good stim there, just an aggressive stim. Meanwhile, those tanks have got a great position. The watchtower is being held, and TLO is just getting cornered. It's trying to take his 4th base, though, at the same time. So, obviously, this 4th base will be key in catching up economically. Burrow also on its way. Tunneling Claws isn't actually done for TLO, though, so the roaches won't be able to sneak up on these tanks anytime soon. But we could see some Burrow Baning play. It was the Fun Day Monday for Day 9 a little while ago, so maybe TLO was watching. I mean, Burrow Banelings are always great fun, and we are going to see some Burrow Baning play, and there is nothing better than Burrow Banelings in my opinion. Just for the sheer look on the Terran player's face when they're just happily strolling along, think they're elite, and then a Burrow Baneling goes off and kills all of their marines. But actually lifting some of the marines now, so a scan may go off now for Plot. He's actually just not going to go for it, and I can't blame him. He is going to get that scan off, so he will see those Banelings there. An absolutely great scan. I mean, just because he got that scan off, he could be in a very good position. Trying to get us around with those lings. The tanks weren't sieged up, so a lot of damage could be done now, but that tank fire doing significant damage to the Banelings, and that was just easily cleaned up by Plot there. Meanwhile, this 3rd base coming under siege again. I mean, 17 Banelings are morphing in, 20 Zerglings also there, and there's the GG from TLO. Very, very good game. Plot did an amazing job there. Brought it back really, really nicely from that very, very early Roach Ling aggression by TLO. And really, once he sniped that 3rd base, he was in a great position to go on and win. So, I hope you enjoyed, and I will get casting my 2nd game straight away. Thanks for watching.